What the was that? Oh!
So that sounds exactly the same. What we've just said, what we've heard is someone walking up and down here.
Yes, 100%.
Graveyards hold the weight of history, but some are burdened by a past so violent it refuses to stay buried. What happens when a lone investigator ventures into a place soaked in the blood of one of England's deadliest battles? Tonight, we explore a chilling investigation that will make you question what really lies beneath the soil of ancient churchyards. Meet Tom, the creator behind the popular YouTube channel Haunted Finders. Tom is known for his solo investigations into some of the UK's most paranormally active locations, armed with his gear and a deep respect for the history he uncovers. Through his videos, he documents his raw, unfiltered encounters with the unknown, capturing evidence that often leaves his audience speechless. But one investigation at a notoriously haunted church would test his nerve as he came face to face with an energy that seemed intent on making its presence felt. On a quiet morning, Tom arrived at East Stoke Church, a site infamous for its connection to the Battle of Stoke Field, one of the bloodiest conflicts in English history. He began by explaining the church's grim past, how so many soldiers were killed that a nearby river ran red with their blood, and how their bodies were disposed of in a mass grave right there in the churchyard.
This place, if you don't already know, sits right opposite the field where the Battle of Stoke Field took place, which was said to be one of the bloodiest battles of English history. So many people died in that battle that there is a small river that runs alongside the field, and when people were trying to escape, they slaughtered them into that stream, and apparently the river ran red with blood that day because of how many people were slaughtered. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that went down here, and they actually mass buried a lot of the soldiers from the Battle of Stoke Field in this churchyard, and there were that many of them buried that the churchyard now sits higher than the church.
As he walked the grounds, the sheer age of the place was palpable. The ancient tombstones, some dating back to the early 1700s, stood as silent witnesses to centuries of turmoil. But it was as he passed the church windows that the investigation took its first unsettling turn. For a brief moment, he was certain he saw a figure looking out at him, a chilling sight that immediately put him on edge.
Wow, I got a really weird feeling then, walking past my own windows then, I swear. I thought I saw someone looking out, that was weird.
Shaken but undeterred, Tom decided to begin an EVP session near the area believed to be the mass grave. He spoke into the silence, inviting any spirits connected to the battle to communicate. The response was both immediate and shocking.
What was that? What? Oh, that is clear. What is that? What does he say? Definitely shouted something.
A loud, aggressive shout echoed back through his device. While the words were unclear, the hostile tone was unmistakable. It was clear he was not alone, and whatever was with him felt an intense need to be heard. All the while, the unnerving feeling of being watched, which began with the figure in the window, intensified, as if someone was now following his every move. Switching to a spirit box app, Tom attempted to establish a more direct line of communication. The responses that came through were fragmented, but painted a dark picture, confirming the location's tragic history.
Don't antagonize.
Don't antagonize. I'm not here to antagonize. Still graves present here from 1701.
Horrible things happened here.
Whoa. Disposed of.
Cursed land.
Cursed land.
Then a single chilling word emerged, and Tom, an experienced investigator, recognized this as a common claim made by a particularly aggressive spirit he had encountered here before. The entity continued its threats with strange phrases, confirming he was dealing with the churchyard's most malevolent energy. The encounter then escalated from verbal threats to physical activity. After the spirit box instructed him to take a seat, Tom moved to a nearby bench. He could hear distinct footsteps rustling in the leaves behind him, circling him as if sizing him up.
Just heard someone walking down here. You coming to join me? I've just heard you. Come. Such a strange feeling here. Something walking behind me. I can hear you. Come closer then. Come and sit with me. Can you hear that? Please tell me you can hear that. Someone's just walked underneath the tree.
Suddenly, as he stood to adjust his equipment, something was thrown in his direction, landing with a sharp thud nearby. It happened again and then again. The spirit was no longer content with just words. It was now physically interacting, throwing objects from the darkness in a clear attempt to intimidate him, turning the quiet churchyard into a volatile and unpredictable environment.
I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to throw stuff. Okay? I don't know if that was on the audio, but I stood up to put my phone in my pocket so I can get the recorder out. And if someone threw something over here, and again, stop throwing things.
Though Tom left the location physically unharmed, the encounter left a lasting impression. He had been stalked, threatened, and even had objects thrown at him by an unseen force. Was this the tormented spirit of a soldier, forever angry about his violent death and unceremonious burial? Or was it something else? An entity that feeds on the pain and suffering embedded in the very soil of the church? The aggressive presence made its point clear. Some places are best left undisturbed, and some spirits will do whatever it takes to make sure you never forget it. Doing simple tasks alone at night can feel peaceful, but what happens when the silence is broken by a sound that shouldn't be there? Tonight, we explore a recording that turns a mundane car upgrade into a moment of pure dread. This clip proves that sometimes the most terrifying encounters happen right outside your own door. Let's delve straight into this unnerving footage. Meet Dustin Frazier, the creator behind the YouTube channel of the same name. He often shares parts of his life with his audience. But one late night, a simple project would be interrupted by something he couldn't explain, turning his camera into a witness for a deeply unsettling event. His casual recording captures a moment of raw fear, reminding us that we are never truly alone. The video begins with Dustin in his car, setting up to install new leather seat covers. It's late around 1 a.m, and the quiet darkness of the night envelops him as he explains his small project to the camera. He mentions he is alone and a bit unsure of what he's doing, establishing an isolated and vulnerable atmosphere from the very beginning.
I am here. Literally just out of park. So I got these leather seat covers, right? Also, I got a ring. I started rewatching Vampire Diaries, so I ordered a lapis lazuli ring. Anyways, that's besides the point. I wanted to put them on. I don't know. And I don't know what I'm doing. So, I'm gonna try to put them on.
As he's speaking, he abruptly stops. His voice cuts out and the casual mood shatters in an instant.
Okay. Sorry, it sounded like crying or something.
A faint but distinct sound that he describes as crying. An unnervingly long and heavy silence follows as Dustin stands perfectly still, listening intently to the darkness outside his car. The camera continues to roll, capturing nothing but the tense stillness as he processes the disturbing sound he just heard. After what feels like an eternity, he tries to push aside what he heard, forcing himself to focus on the task at hand. But what he sees next makes him want to run. A tall, shadowy figure, completely shrouded in black, stands motionless in the middle of the street, staring straight at him. The comforting solitude vanishes, replaced by a chilling sense of being watched. The project is forgotten, and the only thing that matters is the terrifying possibility of who or what is lurking on these streets. Although he wanted to continue, having a look at the chilling interruption left a dark cloud over the rest of his night. The moment Dustin tried to escape, the video abruptly cut to black. Yet, the mystery lingers. What was the source of that haunting cry? Was it a distant animal? Or was it something far more human and far more troubling? The ambiguity is what makes this clip so terrifying. He was in a familiar place, yet the unknown had found him. It's a stark reminder that you don't need to be deep in the woods to feel like you're being hunted. Sometimes the most frightening things are waiting right on your own street. Venturing into the woods alone at night can be terrifying. But what happens when you encounter someone or something you'd rather never meet? Like this first encounter, for example, captured by Joe and Elliot. Meet Joe and Elliot, the duo behind the YouTube channel Ghost Theory. They travel to some of the most reputedly haunted locations, armed with cameras and investigative equipment, in an attempt to capture definitive proof of the afterlife. Their goal is to separate fact from fiction. But in this particular Tudor mansion, they would find themselves confronted with evidence so clear it would challenge any sense of skepticism. The investigation takes place at Tudor World, a historic mansion converted into a museum that showcases the grim and brutal history of the Tudor era.
At Tudor World, where it's been, this amazing Tudor mansion's been turned into a kind of museum.
I mean, we've had a look around already, but there's one part we haven't been in yet, which apparently would be the most active part of the building.
Yeah.
And we've got stories because this is sort of connected to the...
Joe and Elliot began with a tour of the building, which was filled with macabre displays of torture, witchcraft, and questionable medical practices from the period. The atmosphere was already heavy with the weight of its dark past. From rooms where women were allegedly touched by unseen forces, to tales of bizarre and gruesome remedies involving mercury and the urine of a dead man.
Right, so according to stories of this place, people are allowed to sit and lie on the bed and test the bed out. And I'm not going down that line. No.
I mean, this whole thing here is about how they would half drown women just to shut them up if they spoke out a line.
Yeah.
This woman is using the urine of a dead man. Like, I don't understand how this... I mean, did he die and then...
And then this initial walkthrough set a sinister stage for the night ahead, hinting at the tormented energies that might still linger within the ancient walls. As night fell and the building quieted down, they began their investigation on the ground floor, calling out to any spirits present.
And I was about to say everything's quietening down now, but it has quietened down. So we're here to try and communicate, and you've probably had this a lot. A lot of people come here, so we apologise if
the initial moments were still, but the silence was abruptly shattered by a loud, distinct knock that echoed from within the same room. The sound was sharp and close, impossible to mistake for the distant noises of the world outside. It was their first clear sign that they were not alone, a direct response that sent a wave of anticipation and unease through them both.
Please, can you make some sounds for us? Can you knock on...
What was that?
You just hit...
And that was in the room as well. That wasn't like noise from outside.
No.
Somewhere.
The activity quickly escalated. As they continued their vigil downstairs, they began to hear what sounded unmistakably like footsteps creaking on the floorboards directly above them. The sound was so clear that Elliot was able to go upstairs and replicate it, confirming that someone or something was walking around.
They're walking then upstairs, very far away. It's that step.
That is 100% it. Someone's just stood on that step. That's instant.
This began a frustrating and terrifying pattern. Every time they were downstairs, the footsteps would start. But the moment they went upstairs to confront the source, the building would fall completely silent. They were being toyed with, led in circles by an intelligent presence that seemed to be watching their every move. Their equipment began to fail inexplicably. Camera batteries drained in minutes, and recordings would stop without reason, particularly in the most active areas. The feeling of being watched intensified when they ventured into the attic, a space known as the seance room. Here, the atmosphere grew heavy, and both men felt a palpable presence, with Elliot becoming convinced that something was standing directly behind him. This oppressive feeling was punctuated by small, unnerving sounds, faint clicks and creaks that seemed to emanate from the empty chairs right beside them, even as they sat perfectly still. As the night wore on and the outside world fell into total silence, the activity inside the mansion reached its peak. Now past 2:30 a.m., the footsteps upstairs returned, louder and more deliberate than ever. Convinced there was no rational explanation, they conducted one final experiment. While Joe remained downstairs, Elliot walked across the upper floor, and the sound was a perfect match to the phantom footsteps they had been hearing all night.
Does that sound the same?
Exactly the same.
Okay. So that sounds exactly the same. What we've just said, what we've heard is someone walking up and down here.
Yes, 100%.
There was no one else in the locked building, no sound from outside, and no way to debunk what they were hearing. It was the undeniable sound of someone walking through the empty halls with them. They had captured what they came for: clear, repeatable evidence of something paranormal. The disembodied footsteps weren't just random noises. They were intelligent, responsive, and seemingly playful, creating a cat and mouse game that left the investigators both thrilled and terrified. They left that night with no logical explanation for who was walking the halls of Tudor World, only the chilling certainty that the spirits of the past are far more present than we can imagine. Exploring unknown places can lead to incredible discoveries, but sometimes the most unsettling findings aren't what you expect to see, but what you hear. And in one particular video, the focus shifted from the drive to a deeply unsettling exploration, where strange sounds and fleeting observations created a chilling atmosphere. On the night of August 13th, 2023, a small, obscure YouTube channel uploaded a short video titled, "I Went Camping and Woke Up to a Bear Attacking My Tent." Pretty crazy. What it captured was far more chilling than the title suggested.
There's something in it.
The man behind the camera was simply trying to fall asleep, nestled in what should have been a peaceful, remote campsite, when a strange sound began to drift in from the darkness outside. At first, he assumed it was just another wild animal. But then, without warning, the noise surged, louder, sharper, deeply unsettling. As panic crept in, he switched on a light only to confirm his worst fear. It wasn't just any animal, it was a bear. The sound intensified. So did his fear. In a moment of desperation, he reached for his gun and aimed it toward the tent wall, toward the unknown. It was as if the noise had cracked something open inside him. A primal awareness. Pure survival. The video ends abruptly, cutting to black. Yet, the questions still linger. Was it really a bear stalking just beyond the fabric of his tent? Did it come closer? Did he fire? Or did the creature simply vanish into the night, leaving behind only silence and the echo of terror? And most haunting of all, did the man make it out alive? Venturing into a haunted forest is one thing, but what happens when the forest itself seems to be hunting you? Tonight, we delve into a terrifying investigation that pushes one explorer to his absolute limit. This footage will make you question what really lurks in the darkness between the trees. Let's jump straight into this chilling encounter. Meet Dan, the investigator behind the YouTube channel Cursed Urban. Dan bravely explores some of the most paranormally active locations, seeking to document the unexplainable. His channel is a testament to his courage. But on a return trip to a place known as the Mimic Forest, he would find himself in a situation far more sinister than he could have ever anticipated. Dan arrives at the infamous Mimic Forest, a place he's visited before and experienced disembodied voices and screams. This time, his plan is more ambitious. A stealth camping trip overnight in his car, hoping to capture definitive evidence of the entity said to mimic human voices to lure its victims deeper into the woods.
and we're gonna try some other stuff. A little bit of background on this area. Supposedly there is a mimic creature in here. What a mimic is it does mimicry. It mimics your voice. It tries to draw you into the woods to eat you, to kill you. I don't know what exactly it does, because people who are brought in by mimics tend not to come back to tell the tale. So supposedly there's a mimic creature in these woods.
He sets off into the darkening trees, ready for whatever the night has in store. As he explores, Dan stumbles upon a disturbing clearing with downed trees arranged in a circle, matching the description of a ritual site he had been told about. The atmosphere is immediately heavy.
And I'm already getting creeped out, dude. No matter how many times I do this, how many times I go out camping and stuff, I don't know if I'll ever get used to the fact of just like wandering into a dark forest, at night by myself. It's always something else. Oh, what's this? Dude, look at this. What's going on here? What is this about? See this? There's like this stuffing all shredded. I don't know, that's weird. Guys, let me know in the comments if you have any idea what this stuff is. Maybe it is like some sort of like plant or whatever, but I don't see it on anything else. It's just that one tree. Which, dude, stuff like that always sketches me out for real, because this forest is really, really known for a lot of disappearances, and a lot of these disappearances have been swept under the rug. So,
Deciding this is the perfect spot to begin his investigation, he pulls out a Spirit Talker app, hoping to make contact with whatever spirits or entities reside there. The forest doesn't wait long to respond. A faint laugh echoes from the trees, and the Spirit Talker app ominously warns of a bad spirit. The laughter returns closer this time, as Dan notices a trail of snapped and broken trees, as if something large was dragged through the area. The device chillingly spells out the word victim.
I'm trying to figure out a way to hold my phone, my camera, and get the flashlight out so you guys can see a bit more instead of nothing. So I got a very weak light on the camera right now. Actually, you know what?
Hear my voice.
Hear my voice. Let me turn this up. Way up. It's going to kill the battery on it, but maybe you'll be... Yeah, there you guys go. Now you can see something. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Alright. Better... And then it said, hear my voice. And it was just about 30 seconds after it said each of those things that we heard it. Dude, we're in for something tonight. We are in for something tonight. For sure. 1950s.
Then, a loud crack, like a branch snapping, erupts nearby, only to be echoed moments later from a completely different direction. A classic sign of the mimic he came to find. Pressing on despite the growing sense of dread, Dan follows a path near the river, the source of the strange noises. What happens next confirms he is not alone. For a fleeting moment, he sees a pale white figure poke its head out from behind a tree, silhouetted by a distant light, before it vanishes without a sound.
There we go. All set up. Tent is done. A lot easier than I remember. Alright, so tent's done. Sleeping bag needs to go in there. I need to put this stuff away before I lose something. That's about it. Going to,
The disembodied laughing follows soon after, now sounding like a taunt. He is being watched. Dan cautiously makes his way back to the ritual clearing, only to find something that wasn't there before. 2 sticks laid out in the shape of an X. As he processes this unsettling new discovery, the spirit talker delivers its most direct and terrifying message yet.
This was not here. This was not here. The last time we were here. This was 100% not here. Before. It's like a cross or an X, like X marks. Nah, it's more like an X than a cross. Like an X marks the spot. Ha. It just said ha ha. Yo, it just said ha ha. Okay. With all the laughing we've been hearing tonight in the woods, and now we get ha ha on a spirit talker. That's not a coincidence, dude. That is not a coincidence.
The entity isn't just present, it's actively mocking him, confirming the laughter was meant for him all along. Feeling completely unsafe and hunted, Dan retreats to his car for the night, hoping the steel and glass will offer some protection. He manages to fall asleep, but is violently woken by the same chilling laughter he heard in the woods. Before he can even process what's happening, 2 loud, aggressive bangs strike his car windows, one on each side in rapid succession.
Alright guys, I just woke up. And what woke me up is it sounded like laughing. Sound like that same laughing I heard before, just way closer. What the dude? What the was that? What the was that? Oh! What the dude? Holy holy oh, what the oh, what the was that? Oh, dude, there's something outside the car. There's something outside this.
Panic floods him as he realizes there is nothing and no one visible outside. The creature is right there with him. Terror overtakes him. Dan scrambles to pack his gear and get out of the forest as fast as possible. There is no question in his mind. He was being toyed with, hunted by something intelligent, malicious, and dangerously close. The laughter, the mimicked sounds, the pale figure, and the final assault on his car were all part of a terrifying game that could have ended in tragedy. Some spirits are content to make their presence known with a whisper or a cold spot. The entity in the mimic forest, however, is far more aggressive and physical. It doesn't just want you to know it's there, it wants you to be terrified. Dan was wise to flee when he did, leaving the dark woods behind. One thing is certain, the creature is still out there, laughing and waiting for its next visitor. The wild is unpredictable, a place where the familiar sounds of nature can quickly turn into a source of unimaginable fear. But what happens when you're all alone and the sounds you hear don't belong to any known animal? Tonight, we follow a solo camper whose peaceful night out becomes a terrifying ordeal. This footage is a chilling reminder that when you're in the woods, you are never truly alone. Let's meet Dan, the creator of the popular YouTube channel English Woodsman. Dan is a seasoned outdoorsman who thrives on the solitude and challenge of solo camping, documenting his experiences for his viewers. He's familiar with the strange feelings and unsettling nerves that come with being isolated in the wilderness. But on this particular night, he would encounter something that would push his courage to its absolute limit, turning a routine camp out into a night of pure terror. The trip began like any other, with Dan finding a quiet, secluded spot in a large wooded area. As darkness began to fall, he spoke about the unique mental state of solo camping, the heightened awareness, and the initial nerves that every lone adventurer feels. He explained that it's a process of tuning your senses into the environment, where every snap of a twig or rustle of leaves is amplified in the silence.
When you come camping with friends, 2, 3 of you, you sort of like, you don't have a nerve build up, you know, you're not a little bit aware of your surroundings because there's a small group of yourselves. You need just to switch off from your normal life, let's say, and you need to take in your surroundings, your noises, what you were, like I can hear a stream over that direction. Yeah, when you're solo camping, you really need to tune in. And you'll do it without realising anyway, but when you solo camp by yourself. I've done this for years, on and off by myself, and every time I still come out and I still need to feel that little bit of...
As he prepared his gear for the night, a subtle but persistent sense of unease began to take hold. While setting up his camp and preparing his dinner, he started hearing faint noises from the edge of his campsite. He tried to brush them off, convincing himself that it was just his mind playing tricks on him, a common side effect of being alone in the vast, dark woods. However, the unsettling feeling of being watched wouldn't go away. Later that evening, sitting in the deep darkness with only a small lantern for light, he again mentioned the strange sensation of hearing things just beyond his field of view. He attempted to rationalize it as the paranoia that often accompanies solo trips, a familiar yet deeply unsettling part of the experience.
I keep thinking like I heard something, I don't know. It's probably me. Letting my mind play tricks with me. I always keep thinking that I'm hearing something around. But when you're by yourself, your mind can't play.
Finally deciding to get some sleep, Dan made a fateful choice. To block out the unsettling noises and calm his nerves, he turned off his light, put on some music, and sealed himself inside his bivy bag. But the peace was short-lived.
I heard like a weird, like a sniffing noise, like a dog. Earlier we're on about if you're with somebody else, things like this won't bother you, and it's true. But when you're by yourself, little noises do give you butterflies.
A bizarre sound suddenly cuts through the night, a loud, heavy sniffing, almost like a dog, but disturbingly different. The next morning, a visibly disturbed Dan recounted the terrifying events of the night. He confessed that he was spooked the hell out. The sniffing wasn't a single occurrence. It came back 2 or 3 times, waking him from his sleep. His fear grew so intense that after hearing it a second time, he scrambled out of his bivy bag in the dark to move his food and gear, hanging it high in a tree in case whatever was out there was drawn to the scent. It was a harrowing experience that left him on high alert for the rest of the night. Though Dan made it through the night physically unharmed, the question of what was lurking just outside his camp remains unanswered. Was it an ordinary animal or something more sinister, drawn to the presence of a lone camper? Its persistence throughout the night suggests a terrifying curiosity. Dan's ordeal is a stark reminder that, in the deep woods, the silence can be deceiving, and the most frightening encounters are with the things you can hear but can't see. Now, that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these clips, subscribe to my channel and click to see more on the video on screen.